Hi class, hope you're well and had a good weekend. This lecture is for Tuesday, April 28th, and we'll be skipping ahead and doing air pollution or air quality engineering, chapter 11, before we do chapter 10, waste management, since chapter 10 we won't have problems or on the exam, more just terminology. So I thought it better to cover chapter 11 first. So let me share my screen. Okay, so as I said, please watch this for Tuesday, April 28th. And we are on chapter 11, air quality engineering. Sometimes I'll say air pollution, but it's air quality engineering. So actually getting into the solutions related to air pollution. So for this video, got some 5 major objectives just to understand the impacts of air pollution, explain the Clean Air Act, describe how the urban, regional, and global scale of different air pollutants and problems, list the major sources of air pollution, and identify major solutions for air pollution. So I'd like to start with a question: what is the top killer in the world? Might be biased related on this chapter, but smoking, car accidents, unsafe water, particulate pollution, alcohol and drug use, or terrorism. So maybe think about that for a little bit. So the answer is particulate pollution. Sorry, this is a little small. You can link to the World Economic Forum article here that found air pollution is the world's top killer according to new research. So on average, decreasing life expectancy by 1.8 years, followed by smoking, which is kind of related because it does emit pollutants and causes cancer as well. Then alcohol and drug use, and then unsafe water, sanitation, and hand washing or hygiene. So I know I focus a lot on water, and we focus a lot on water in this class, but air pollution is also very important. So these are the, how those deaths break down related to linked to outdoor and household air pollution. So 7 million people die prematurely every year from air pollution, both household and indoor. So indoors is a big issue in a lot of developing countries that don't have electric stoves or gas stoves. They cook indoors with wood or fuel, which releases a lot of particulates, and there's not proper ventilation. So a lot of these deaths are related to pneumonia, stroke, from heart disease and chronic pulmonary disease, COPD, and also lung cancer. And even air pollution can cause cognitive issues. In your book, table 11.7, premature death, decreased lung and function, effects on the nervous system, including brain, such as IQ loss, impacts on learning, memory, and behavior. So where UC Merced is located in one of, the top places for air pollution that violates the national standards. Fresno, this shows that Fresno, ranked #1 in US for polluted air, receives a failing grade. Same for Merced. So we're in a valley situation. So it's the, agriculture, but also we get the pollutants from cities that settle, like from San Francisco and other areas that settle down into the valley, and I-99 and all the traffic and semis and everything. I think many of you remember the wildfires and how that impacted air pollution. This shows the air quality index in November of 2018 and how bad it got. Purple is really unhealthy. So hopefully how to check your air quality, airnow.gov and air quality index, and you can type in your zip code and find the air quality. This is good to check, especially in the Central Valley in the summer when it's really hot and the air quality can be compromised. So looking at the particulate matter 10 and PM 2.5 emissions based on national sensors to see, how you should, if you should limit your outdoor activities, say to 30 minutes or under an hour, or maybe not cut the lawn that day, sort of things. And so this is just an explanation of the air quality index and the ranges, and they're on the website as well and color coded with, hazardous, unhealthy, moderate, and good. So who's most impacted by air pollution? I think we've learned in environmental justice, not everyone is impacted equally. So air pollution is especially difficult for children, women, as I mentioned, with indoor cooking, and people that are, more outdoor workers, which usually are more lower income jobs, when outside in construction and just, working outside maintenance, lawn care. These people are more susceptible to air pollution. So getting into the next objective, the Clean Air Act. So this is a picture of LA before and after what? I guess I kind of give it away there, but it's not before and after the coronavirus, though that has been cleaning, decreasing air pollution, but that's probably going to be temporary, hopefully. And so just like the Clean Water Act that we've seen before, Safe Drinking Water Act, the Clean Air Act, came out in the 1970s as well, and it wasn't a response to very poor air quality. So Dr. Belinda Strum has like a 15-minute video on the Clean Air Act. I'd really recommend you watching it for more details. Something very important that it's done is establish the National Ambient Air Quality Standards, NAAQS, and that was in your glossary terms. And of course, there's a bunch of amendments that have been improving on the Clean Air Act and increasing enforcement ability and permitting. And so these are the National Ambient Air Quality Standards for the different pollutants that we'll discuss more in the synchronous lectures. So you should be able to list all of these major pollutants: particulate matter, PM10 and PM 2.5, so that's micrometers, and like the size of the particles. So larger particles, are bad, but smaller particles can get in through the lungs and be very invasive since they're very small and have a lot of bad health risks as well. Carbon monoxide, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, ozone, and lead. Okay, so we've gone over the first two about the impacts of air pollution and then the Clean Air Act. So we'll go quickly through the urban, regional, and global scale of different air pollutant problems, the major sources, and major solutions. So when we think of air pollution, we kind of think of localized, maybe like difficulty breathing, the air quality is bad, but there, are a lot larger, like global scale issues, just related that can cause, ozone depletion, which increases UV rays and causes skin cancer, and even like severe weather and species extinction. Regionally, it can cause, acid rain, which impacts our forests, causes fish death, reduced yields for agriculture, urban health, of course, and smog and pollution, people with asthma are severely affected. And so this is, as we've seen with environmental justice, an issue with living close to freeways or highways. They're usually the lower income areas, more exposed to air pollution. So you'll see a lot of times them trying to expand highways, and there'll be sort of protests from the local population, since that impacts them with the air quality. And so acid rain can cause damage to buildings. That's with the property damage, erodes surfaces. So yeah, the air pollution is a lot bigger than maybe, say, your individual breathing and health, which is also really significant. So what are the major sources of air pollution? In your book, it'll talk about stationary versus mobile and fugitive. So it's good to know those techniques or those individual definitions, but this graphic is a little clearer to understand. So our major sources, of course, industry. We think of smoke, smoke stacks and pollution. Transportation is huge with our driving, and of course agriculture, dust, and the machinery they use. Household energy that you use for electricity could be powered by coal-fired power plants or other energy plants. We do have a lot of hydroelectric power in California, luckily, or solar power, but there is still, natural gas and, coal-fired power plants around the US and the world that emit a lot of pollution. And waste management, so open burning, if you've seen that on the road, some, farmers are allowed to do a certain amount of open burning, or even in your fireplace or whatnot, and there's a lot of illegal burning or burning at on trash heaps or landfills catch on fire, which emits a lot of air pollution. And so what can we do about it? Try to think of some solutions. A lot of times your first instinct will be like, oh, let's use technology and clean the air. But remember the pollution prevention hierarchy. That's not just for waste, but a way of thinking of air pollution as well. Like if we drive less, if we use more public transportation, we won't have that pollution to begin with, so we don't have to treat it. So working on source reduction first and foremost, which is the most difficult, is important. So clean energy, you might think of windmills, solar, as we're discussing, and kind of reducing the amount of cars on the road, public transportation, or cycling. A lot of you, I think, would do this on campus as well. And you can reduce it through agriculture, better techniques. Yeah. So hopefully that was a quick or not so quick introduction to air quality engineering, and that you've been able to understand these objectives. Maybe go back through the slides, and look forward to seeing you on Zoom soon. Thank you.